Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Your video is about to start. I wanted to remind you of our newer Wednesday, 1 p.m. live stream Q&A on all things Social Security. Visitors are welcome to post a question in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer it. It's on a first come, first serve basis, so please get there on time. Otherwise, if you care to be a member and get some different kinds of perks, feel free to click the join button below or just click it to learn about them. Anyway, I hope to see you Wednesday. If not, enjoy the video. Bye now. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Stephanie Joy, all things Social Security and Joy Disability. Okay, question is about medical records. As you may know, medical records are the foundation of evidence for your claim. It is the most important thing of all, if we're going to make one thing most important. And without medical records, that means no medical evidence, and you can't even establish a diagnosis without a medical record where there is a proper medically acceptable diagnosis in there. So the way it generally goes is, and those of you who are in the middle of a claim, you probably know this, when you file your application, you list all of your medical providers and when you started seeing them. And if you stopped, it's okay to include them because those medical records might be relevant to some limitation you have today. So I say, when in doubt, include. Don't try to second guess. Would this be? Just put it all in there. Don't go lighter. And the SSA, once they get your application and everything, they're going to shove it up to the DDS, the Medical Workup Office. That's usually an outsourced office of the state. And that office is the one that is going to then order those records. Now, they sometimes fail to get them all. So it's good if you can kind of keep in touch. If you're representing yourself, you got to do the job that, maybe would be somebody else's job. So you want to make sure that they've been able to secure all those records. So keep in touch with them a bit. If you're going to help them get something, the question in particular was, are portal records, patient portal records from providers sufficient in terms of the record set from that provider? Now, it is my understanding, and a judge who has been in the system for decades has shared to me that portal records, well, we kind of knew they weren't fully the same as fully complete as official orderings, but generally because the test results are there and the progress notes have been required to be there pursuant to, I think it was a 2019 law that was passed under that administration. So helpful. Portals used to be squat. Now they are good because that doctor's note explaining blah, blah, blah now has to be put in there and put in there promptly. So that has really changed the face of it largely. However, as this judge pointed out to me, the portal records don't often include the messages between the patient and the doctor or the patient and the doctor's office. And sometimes those messages are about you complaining to them about growing pain here. Can we talk about this at my next visit? Or can I make a visit? Uh, any kind of symptom that is becoming evident or more limiting or more annoying or what have you. So, and those messages don't seem to roll out when we download. Like we use a lot of Epic MyChart, which I think is the gold standard. Some medical providers use more rinky-dink stuff. I'm not going to say names, so I don't want to like hurt anybody's feelings, but there's some that just aren't as good. Because with Epic MyChart, you can literally go to documents and say, print out the whole medical file. Vis-a-vis the fact that it's a portal file, not, but the messages, I don't know if it's a doctor's office that can pick and choose if that's going to be part of that download, like as an overall arching thing for their system, or if not, because I feel like I've seen some where they are included, but I could be wrong on that. It could have been Hitmer's that I was looking at, so I don't want to say that. But this ALJ said, um, Don't rely on them because they won't have the messages between the patient and the doctor. And there can be some really good, that's proof that the person's been complaining about it for 2 years. That might not otherwise be there. You could be complaining about something, but when you go to the doctor, you have the flu, and that's all it gets addressed. But you are sending messages about that back pain that puts you on your back again in bed for 3 days in a row, or the fatigue that's been really interrupting your days. You can't even get through a day at home without a nap, and that's not even doing a lot of work, right? So she did point that out, and I thought that was really useful. I know you can go into your messages and somehow, depending on the system, cut and paste, highlight, cut and paste. Some let you print it. It really depends on between your device and probably their system. But you have to almost do that one by one by one. If you have like 50 messages in there, you'll be there a while. But believe me, I've been known to, it's a real pain. So what her suggestion was for that was if it's a big network that the SSA has the agreement arrangement with that health network to do HITMER, HITMER, and that's the automated where they already have your 827 authorization for them to get your medical records, and they can go in and do a quick, we want records from here to here, and the whole thing comes down. And she says that will have the messages. So hopefully that's true. Um, but if you are, so she said, ask us and we'll get it. We'll get an update before the hearing. So you would want, if you're going to ask your Office of Hearings Operations, your ALJ, to do that, you would call and say, hey, do you guys have the ability to do that automated obtaining of the records for so and so network? Could you do that? Because, I think it's going to be more thorough than me providing you with the portal records. That said, I sometimes order the official records and I do the portal because the portal will I know I can get, and the officials I don't know if they're going to send them. Sometimes I have to request for 4 months. Sometimes I have to ask the judge to do a subpoena. So it really varies. Um, Portal records are so much better than they used to be ever since that 2019 law, which actually didn't go into effect until probably I think it was supposed to start end of 2020, but they pushed it off till 21, probably because of COVID. Um, but it is fabulous. The same exact record that I would get, in the official set about what the doctor said about history and what she said today and what were her complaints and what was my physical exam findings. That's all in there, and that didn't used to be. They really made you pay money to go order them. It's still you have to sometimes pay to order, but the portal obviously you don't. We use the portal records. I will still send in the official set though if I get them. And in my mind, that's not duplicative because they actually are a little different. So until a judge tells me no, otherwise, that to me, that's not duplicative. Um, Even though some of the records will be from the same days, but they're different in appearance. They're gonna have a little bit something different from the official set than the portal set. Now, as for portal, again, for your own purposes, so that you know where all your visits were, you know what the doctor said about you, you should be looking at that and reviewing that with a fine-tooth comb. Don't get too nitpicky about if they make some innocuous mistakes, because there's going to bound to be mistakes. Records are so inaccurate, it's not funny. But if the substance of, what your complaints are in there, that's good. Um, if he talks about prognosis, if he talks about next, what's the next plan if this doesn't work, all that stuff is good, but it'll help if your doctor's actually verbalizing things and writing in your record, and you can know if there's a problem, and you can know if your records are weak if you know how to recognize it from a SSA litigation point of view. But I think portal records are fabulous, and I think everyone should have access to their portal. And whether you are going to, if you're on initial and recon, you can shoot them up. Now, if you have the complete set, remember, I've given warnings before where I've seen it quite a bit, where as soon as you send something to the SSA from a particular doctor, some adjudicators will be like, huh, I don't have to go order those records now. So sometimes it's like you're trying to be helpful, but they seem to think they can take the day off, at least with regard to your case and ordering those records. So it is a tight thing. And since I don't think you guys, and if you guys know to the difference, please just let me know. I don't think you can go in and see yet at this point, and hopefully that will change. The medical records that have been gotten into your file, like we can when we have you as a client, which is really handy because I can go in there and I can see, did they order it? It just hasn't come in. I'm going to go give that doctor a nudge. I'm going to send my client's request that he get his acting gear, or I could tell my client, call your doctor. He's not listening to the SSA. I'm not calling the doctor. I'm not going to interfere with that relationship in that way. Everything is from the patient, but I will certainly help them nudge him. So, but that's where the portal is really good because also, I mean, for someone like me, it helps me confirm if my client did or did not forget any visits. They usually do. Oftentimes they forgot a visit, and I would not have been able to tell the SSA to not only order that, um, you know, order again because she went back. So it can be really helpful for confirming. To me, it's a lot of cross-checking, because if you just go with what the client says, they miss a lot of stuff. So when I did double checking, I said to my client, look at this list, tell me if there's anything missing. They're like, well, I sent it to you in the app. I'm like, I don't care. Look at the list and tell me if there's anything missing. You might have forgotten something. I'm confirming because if you forgot something and you lose, they're not going to return it for you because you had the opportunity to turn it in. So we really want to be really diligent. So my job to me is to be a nag and to have people review, and re-review, and let me know if anything's missing so we can go, uh, like a dog with a bone, go get it. Okay. Portal records, they will be very helpful also, again, if that doctor never sends and you're fighting with the doctor and they're not sending. Oh, always just get your portals and keep them, whether you're going to send them or not. They're the next best backup to the formal records. And we use them a lot because medical providers are really slow. And sometimes you get one that thinks they're going to be able to charge you. Usually that's a mom and pop though, and they don't even have a portal. Um, but portals are good. I can't say that they are replacement for the officials, but they're still good. So when you can't get the officials or SSA is having a trouble, your adjudicator can't get them, go for it. It's better than nothing. All right. Portal records. It's one of the positives to the many negatives of technology, you know? All right. Bye, guys. Talk to you later.